Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a day that a lot of Jaguar fans will remember for a very, very long time. Doug Pederson fired as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that appears to be the minor story of the day, amazingly enough. The major story of the day is that Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke will remain Jacksonville Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke. There are so many things that I want to talk about with you, so many things that I want to get off my chest, and we'll actually open up phone lines tonight as well. If you want to get in, 641-1010 is the phone number, 641-1010. We don't do it a ton, but we like to do it certainly on nights like tonight. So if you want to get in, there would be room for you, 641-1010. There are a couple of things that I want to dive into right away. First and foremost, guest lineup tonight looks like this. It is Monday night. That means a little Monday night coaching with Campo, my buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about the Doug Pederson firing. We'll talk about Trent Baalke. We'll talk about what it means moving forward. So Dave Campo joins me, as does Tom McManus, the original 55 of the Jacksonville Jaguars. My buddy Tom McManus will join us coming up at about 9 o'clock or so this evening. So we're absolutely loaded. We're with you till 10 o'clock. Let's not waste any more time. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And ladies and gentlemen, it is one of the biggest deals this franchise has had in quite some time. So Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
It is a very big deal. And that is the firing of Doug Pederson and the retainment of Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke. Let's kind of take this in slices. First and foremost, what has appeared to be the minor story of the day, and that is Doug Pederson being fired. I think Doug Pederson is a good coach. I think Doug Pederson is a guy that started out here unbelievably well, but he's also a guy that was the head coach of a team that has lost 18 of their last 23 games. He's a guy that was probably too loyal to people like Press Taylor. He appears to have made bad hires in Mike Caldwell and Ryan Nielsen. And as a head coach, I think it was probably time for a change. So even though Doug Pederson has, ridiculously enough, not really become the story today, even though he was fired earlier this morning, I do believe Shad Khan made the right decision there in firing head coach Doug Pederson. Like many of you, to say that I was surprised, floored, flabbergasted, I think a lot of those would apply when I found out that Trent Baalke would remain as Jaguar general manager. Now, there's a couple of things here. And Denmark can attest to this because I brought it up last week, and I'm not patting myself on the back, although I've been known to do that from time to time, but you can very easily find this if you don't believe me. I sat in this very chair last week, and there's video documentation of this on social media. It's not hard to find, and I laid out why Trent Baalke might be getting a raw deal. And I got absolutely destroyed by people saying, oh, the Jaguars got the hacker, and hacker's a salesman for Baalke, and this, that, and the other. And that's fine. You know, whatever you guys want to believe. But last week I sat here and said, look, Brian Thomas Jr., Tyson Campbell, Trayvon Walker, Anton Harrison, Walker Little, Ventrell Miller, Jarian Jones, Cam Little. You know, you go on down the line, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange. All of these young guys that we proclaim to be somewhat excited about were all drafted by Trent Baalke, right? I mean, that's factual. I'm not making that up. Trent Baalke drafted each and every one of those guys. So Trent Baalke is not without some positive traits. I know all day people have been absolutely annihilating him. And trust me, I'll get there. But in the interest of fairness, you got to point out that he has drafted, Brian Thomas Jr. is a grand slam. That is a grand slam pick. Cam Little in the 6th round, that is a grand slam pick. There are some positives that Trent Baalke has done here. Having said that, when you list the positives, I think for every positive there is a negative or two that you can mention. Baalke's win-loss record as GM is atrocious. Baalke's free agent haul has been less than adequate. Just look back to last year. Gabe Davis, Ronald Darby, Eric Armstead. Miss. Devin Duvernay, probably a miss, right? Mitch Morse, average at best. It was a bad free agent haul. In fact, he's had a couple of bad free agent hauls in the last couple of years. And I thought that you needed a clean sweep across the board. If you're going to fire Doug, you needed to fire Trent. Or if you were going to fire Trent, you needed to fire Doug. They needed to go out together, start over. So I was already taken aback by Baalke remaining. But I read Shad Khan's statement earlier today, and he was talking about he's going to work with Trent Baalke and others to find the best man for the job. I'm paraphrasing here, but that's basically what it said. But I thought it was very open-ended when it came to Baalke. I thought, all right, that doesn't necessarily say that Baalke's the right man to be the GM, or Baalke's the right man to be the GM for the next couple of years, or Baalke's going to lead us into 2025. It kind of left the door open that Baalke was going to help in the coaching search, but maybe, just maybe, things would change down the line when it came to the hierarchy of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then that press conference happened. And I got to tell you, that was bad. Pretty much all the way around, in my opinion. Optically, that was a bad look. I commend the Jaguars for doing that. I commend the Jaguars for getting Shad Khan and Trent Baalke out there to talk to the media. But I think it did far more harm than good. Anybody that watched that, in my opinion, anybody that watched that, how you can come away confident about what the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently doing here, you and I watch different press conferences. If you are confident with what you heard the owner of this football team say today, if you are confident in the direction of this organization, if you are confident in the decision that was made and how they got to the decision today, based on the words that were said at that press conference, then again, you and I watched two different things. First off, Shad Khan comes out and says, well, we're too predictable on both sides of the ball. Too predictable. Have the most predictable offense in the league. Paraphrasing, that's basically what he said. You think Shad Khan knew that? You think he watched the film on that one? Studied the film? Said, yep, that screen pass is too predictable. Or that quarterback rollout's too predictable. Or was he fed that by Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke? just like he was fed by, I presume, Trent Baalke, that this was the best Jaguar football team ever. It sounded like Shad was almost given Cliff Notes today. Another thing, Shad was asked, all right, who are the guys that you kind of lean on in the organization? Who's your kind of inner circle? And he mentioned Trent, and he mentioned Ethan Waugh, who's basically Trent's assistant, right? Well, no wonder you believe the things you believe if that's your inner circle. What do you think they're going to tell you? I almost felt bad for Trent Baalke in this press conference, honestly, because Shad's getting 90% of the questions. Baalke's just sitting there staring into the camera like a deer in headlights. Mia O'Brien asked Shad, all right, well, basically what happens if one of the candidates you want to talk to comes in here and says, I want to talk about maybe the front office and the GM and possible changes there. And Shad said something to the effect of, well, yeah, I would listen to them, and if they have good suggestions, we may do that. As Baalke is just sitting there in the other camera, just staring into the abyss. Just optically, it did not look good. I thought the announcement that Baalke was coming back should have been probably the worst part of the day for most Jaguar fans, and it was for many of you because I saw the reaction on social media, and it was plentiful. But I thought that press conference did not help matters whatsoever. And I'll tell you something else, too. This is all-encompassing of Jacksonville, Florida, right? I understand that sometimes we fall into the trap that Twitter is life and that Twitter is reality, when obviously a very, very small minority of listeners and Jaguar fans are actually posting on Twitter. But, like, my mother called me today, my wife, and believe me, my wife and my mom are not exactly football fans. They put up with it because of, obviously, what I do. And when Mom Hacker calls and says, what are the Jaguars doing? Everybody's really upset about this. I'm getting calls from my girlfriends about it. I mean, this is all of us. This is fans. This is most media. This is bewilderment, right? I've said for a while now, Shad Khan's biggest flaw is that he's too loyal. And if that wasn't proven true to be accurate today, I don't know what other evidence you need. But unfortunately, I got the feeling today that maybe it's not too loyal. It's that he just doesn't have anybody else to listen to. Boy, watching that press conference, hearing the responses, hearing how this thing's going to work, man, Trent Baalke's got a lot of power down there, guys. Trent Baalke has an awful lot of power. I think there was a fear among Jaguar fans that, A, Shad Khan listens to Trent Baalke a little too much, and this was before today's press conference. There was a fear that Shad Khan was maybe a little too hands-off. And there was a fear that Shad Khan might just not know what's going on with the inner workings of his own organization. And when you watch that press conference, man, I got to tell you, some of that stuff to me, I think there's even a bigger fear now. Now, look, I've seen everybody on social media today say I'm no longer a Jaguar fan. I'm canceling tickets. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Guys, gals, let me tell you something, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already realize. Winning solves a lot of problems. Winning changes a lot of opinions. And if the Jacksonville Jaguars land Ben Johnson, which I don't think they will now, but if they land a Joe Brady or a Liam Cohen or an Aaron Glenn, and they put together a good staff, and they have a good draft they got like 6 picks in the first 4 rounds, and they put together a nice free agent haul, and all of a sudden, come October, the team is 5-3 and right in the thick of it in the AFC South, we're not really going to remember January 6, 2025 in regards to the Jaguars firing Doug Pederson, keeping Trent Baalke, and this fan base absolutely losing their minds. Winning would solve some of that. You know it, I know it, we all know it. But on the other hand, depending on who they hire, if it doesn't work out, and come September and October, if the same old is happening, then the magnification of today's negativity will be ampled 3, 4, 5 times. It's going to come down to what happens on the field. But I agree with you. Tonight, on January 6, 2025, after what transpired today with the statement, the decision, the press conference, everything that happened, to me, it was not a good day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can that change? Yeah. And that'll change if they win. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to who they hire. But we live in a world that's 24-hour news cycle. And for this 24 hours on January 6, 2025, it was not a good day, in my opinion, for the Jaguar organization. Let's open up the phone line, 641-1010. If you want to get in, there is room for you. We try to do this on big nights, and tonight is a big night. Jaguar fans, if you want to get in right now, 641-1010. With Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you're with us. Monday night, Jacksonville, Florida. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
How can you describe Lauren Brooks?
At 16, she won the gold, turned pro, and was named one of Barbara Walters' most fascinating persons.
Lauren Brooks on Helmets and Heels from noon to 2
You like strong women. I've done my homework.
on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or two, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey, look at Matt Hayes. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week, Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
You know, many plumbers won't quote prices over the phone and instead charge a service fee for an in-home estimate. Of course, because they know once they're in your home, you're probably not going to send them away. But Roland Reach Plumbing is different. Roland will give you a price quote over the phone, and there's never a trip charge or service fee for an estimate. So if you've got a leak and can't wait a week and don't like paying unnecessary fees, call on Roland Reach Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Hi, I'm Janelle. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the bold flavors. It's very savory. And that golden crispy outside of the sandwich just lets me know that it's going to be so perfectly juicy on the inside.
I'm Sawyer, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the crispy chicken filet. You get the tenderness of the chicken and that zesty pickle. It's savory and tasty. What's not to love? The holidays are all about being together and eating together.
Sandwich in some together time this holiday. Order the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey, Hickett here. It's playoff time now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With more than 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projections, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your accounts this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40 states. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code JAX and get $50 instantly when you play 5. That's code JAX on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, man. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
1010XL is presented by Veram & Veram, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
We'll do a little Monday night coaching with Campo. Dave Campo joins me in less than 20 minutes. So let's get to the phone lines. Phone lines are open on what was, I guess you call it historic, right? Firing of Doug Pederson, Trent Baalke back as the general manager. If you watch the press conference, would love to get your feedback on that as well. 641-1010 is the phone number. And let's kick it off by going down to Orlando. Let's get Bobby in here on Hacker After Dark. Bobby, what's going on?
Hacker, good evening. Thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir.
You know, one of the things that I keep thinking about is Baalke's on his last year of his deal. Let's say things go south and we have to bring in, another GM. He's going to want to bring in his own coach as well. What's to say that's not going to continue to stunt the growth of Trevor? It just seems like you should have gotten rid of both or gotten rid of none. I'm just so frustrated with this organization.
Bobby, thank you. And, yeah, that's a great point. And, look, Shad Khan, he did it in 2013, right? And I made that mistake last week saying he's never done it. He did reset with the GM and the head coach at the same time. That was Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell. By the way, Gus Bradley was fired in Indianapolis an hour and a half ago as the DC, just FYI. So he has done it one time, but he hasn't done it in over a decade. He's fired head coaches and kept GMs, fired GMs and kept head coaches. Every time since 2013. And I don't know how else to say this, except general managers in the NFL do not get 3 different head coaches. And that's what Trent Baalke's going to get here. Urban Meyer, Doug Pederson, and whoever the next guy is. Also, general managers don't get to make 3 top 5 picks in the draft. Because if you're picking in the top 5 3 times during a GM's tenure, guess what? You're not any good. Trevor Lawrence was the pick, and I don't blame Baalke for that because he was only the assistant GM to Dave Caldwell. But then Trayvon Walker the very next year, and now here we are. What is it, 3 years later, and they're in the top 5 again. And again, Baalke's going to make the pick. I mean, what are we doing? Maddening, man. And again, Baalke is not without positives. I want to make that very clear. BTJ is a home run. Cam Little might be the best kicker in football, and I'm not kidding about that. Guy was 27 of 29 on kicks. Baalke found him in the 6th round. Anton Harrison, Trayvon Walker, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange. Baalke is not without positives here. But there are far too many negatives to keep giving this guy chance after chance after chance. Guy would be the ultimate survivor player. Outwit, outplay, outlast. Are you kidding me? He would leave Richard Hatch in the dust. Let's go up to Buffalo. Let's get Junior in here on Hacker After Dark. Junior, what's happening?
Hey, thanks, Hack, for taking my call on a crazy night. This was a big gun punch for me. I wasn't expecting them to do that early this morning because I was listening to the drill when it happened and find out that Trent Baalke is staying and Pederson. I was thinking they keep both because if you're just bringing in another coach that's mediocre, like a Bill O'Brien, that's my worst nightmare. As Bill.
Junior, your cell phone's breaking up a little bit, but I get the sentiment, man. Appreciate you calling. Junior might be the most loyal 5th quarter caller, Denmark, that we have. That guy calls every week up in Buffalo on the 5th quarter, and we love the fact that he does. Yeah, the crazy thing about this is that Doug Pederson getting fired is not even really the story, right? I mean, when you've talked to your friends and your coworkers and your family tonight, this afternoon, this morning, that was just kind of a blurb on the radar. The story here is that Trent Baalke's back. And again, I don't blame Trent Baalke. Guy wanted to save his own skin. He wanted to remain in the game. If Shad Khan's willing to give him the chance, this is on the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is it not? Maybe it works out. But what confidence do we have? Why should we have any confidence that it will work out? And again, I ask you, if you watched that press conference and you left that thing feeling confident about the direction of this organization, I'm not sure what to tell you. Let's go to the South Side. Let's get David in here on Hacker After Dark. David, what's going on?
How you doing, Hacker?
Doing well, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing as well as can be, man. I'm going to give a little bit of a different perspective here, okay? And I mean, and I know I'm not, and trust me, I'm not this Baalke lover by any means, okay? About a couple of years ago, right before a couple of years ago, we were all about get rid of Baalke. Urban, that he was poisonous. It wasn't just Urban, you need to clean house, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Doug Pederson, and it took forever. It's like, I cannot believe we're keeping Baalke. And what happened that year is that suddenly we got into the playoffs, won the game, and it's Baalke, and it's like, why are we firing anybody? Then up till midway through last year, suddenly it's, we were 8-3. And then injuries and everything else. Beginning of this year, you're even talking about, listen, Baalke is, everyone can say about how bad Baalke is, but he's gotten some really good picks in there. I'm wondering, it's like, at what point in time, it's like, was it really him and he's trying to say the yes man? He's trying to say what we want to hear, not necessarily what we need to know. And at what point in time, or is it truly is the coach and not him?
David, appreciate the phone call. Trent Baalke is the general manager of a football team that has lost 18 times in their last 23 games. That's reality. I mean, that's what they are. They're 5-18 in their last 23. That's terrible, right? That's fireable in and of itself. Trent Baalke, for 2 years in a row, has done nothing to address the pass rush outside of Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. I've sat here, if you've listened to me, I've sat here every night for 2 off seasons saying they have nothing behind 41 and 44. Pretty much everybody on 1010XL, all of you guys that are educated Jaguar fans, you knew they had nothing behind 41 and 44. How did Trent Baalke not know that? Was it incompetence? I don't believe so. Obviously, Trent Baalke's not incompetent. Was it arrogance? Was it stubbornness? That's just part of the issue. That's just one position. Roy Robertson Harris was tied for 3rd in sacks on the Jaguars up until a week ago, and he hadn't played here in 2.5 months. And for 2 off seasons, they've done nothing to address the outside pass rush. That's general manager malpractice, man. So you add that on top of the fact that you're 5-18 in your last 23. Gabe Davis, you paid $13 million a year. For what? You gave Eric Armstead, $17 million a year, and according to Eric, you didn't even play him where you told him you were going to play him. That's kind of gotten lost in this. Eric Armstead had a lot to say in the locker room today. Good general managers don't put together rosters that go 5-18 in 23 games. I don't care how many injuries they have. They've had injuries, but come on, man. Let's go to Larry here on 1010XL. Larry, what do you got?
Hey, Hacker. I'm like everybody else. I'm really, really down about this statement that the owner made today. It sounds very clear. He's saying, me and my buddy Trent have got this. We're going to find a good coach. But my hope is that maybe they're going to have a change of heart. Somebody's going to come down. They're going to have an interview like Ben Johnson, and he's going to say, yeah, okay, I'll take the job if I don't have to work under Trent Baalke. What do you think? Do you think there's any hope of that happening?
Well, that was part of that press conference, Larry. Shad Khan kind of alluded to, not necessarily saying that, but saying, I'd be open if they have good suggestions. Well, Baalke's just sitting right there. Like, they weren't in the same room. They were on 2 different screens, but Baalke's hearing this entire exchange. It was just an odd setup today. But if you're going to do that, if a candidate's going to come in here and say, yeah, I'll take the job, but I'm not working with this guy, well, then how bad does that make the organization look? If you're going to keep him today, which they obviously did, to only let him go a couple of weeks later if a candidate says, I'm not working with this guy, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And if it does happen, again, what does that make the organization look like? I'll tell you the concerning thing for me is I've talked to a lot of people that cover the league outside the Jacksonville area today. And we're going to play a lot of those interviews for you during this week on Hacker After Dark. Because I wanted to talk to them today. I wanted fresh reaction, raw reaction. And a lot of these people outside of Jacksonville that maybe aren't as close to it as we are, at least 3 of them use the term an unserious organization. That's how this looks by retaining Trent Baalke. That's concerning, right? If national media members say that, what are prospective head coaching candidates saying? Let's get one more in here. Head coach Dave Campo joins me in less than 10 minutes. Let's go to the state of Alabama. Let's get Jonathan. Jonathan, what's going on?
All right. Well, here's the thing. Trent Baalke has done some good, but you know what? He has done a lot of bad, and I don't understand why they intend on keeping him. And plus, it's been how many years with no pass rush? Not 1, but 2. All right? So if he was on a baseball team and he did that 3 times, he would strike out.
Jonathan, appreciate it. That's a good baseball analogy. The bottom line is general managers don't get to be GMs for 3 different head coaches in one organization. It just doesn't happen. Now, look. We've been here before, guys. right? The clown movement. You remember it. I remember it. Some of you probably dressed up as clowns. We've been here with Trent Baalke. To his credit, after that clown movement, the Jacksonville Jaguars were in the divisional round of the playoffs in Arrowhead, going toe-to-toe with the eventual world champion Kansas City Chiefs. I never thought we would be here again, however. Can lightning strike twice? We were all done with Baalke, and some of you even dressed up to show your anti-Baalke sentiment. And to his credit, he did a good job in 2022. But now here we are again. After another failing season, after another coach gets fired. It's like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Now, maybe we're laughing about this and slapping high fives in January of 2026 if the Jaguars are in the AFC divisional playoffs. But who has confidence that that's going to happen again? I don't. Do you? Dave Campo, Monday Night Coaching with Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. We get him every week on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk, you guessed it, Trent Baalke. We'll mix in a little Doug Pederson as well. Dave Campo next, Monday night, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Chris Berman from ESPN. When I'm back in Jacksonville, back, 1010XL, it's a shirt size, 92.5 FM.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
It's the final days to get inflation fighter savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. The final days to save thousands with just $500 down and $288 per month for a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $500 down and $388 per month. Don't wait. The final days of inflation fighter savings are here. So get to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. Shop in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Need extra cash for the holidays? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is always buying guns, musical instruments, surfboards, and tools, and pays cash money. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. What a day here in Jacksonville, Florida. The season ended yesterday. The Jaguars lose to the Indianapolis Colts, and we did not have to wait very long as this morning it was announced that head coach Doug Pederson has been fired. But maybe the bigger news is that, at least for now, general manager Trent Baalke will remain. Let's talk about all of it with our head coach. You get him every Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. That's my friend Dave Campo, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, what a day here for the Jaguar fan base, my friend.
Yeah, I guess it's a plus and a minus. I mean, the minus is you hate to see anybody fired. I think Doug Pederson is a good man. I question some of the things that he did with, not making decision on who's calling the plays and letting people know it and that type of thing. And, the record is what it is, and unfortunately that's the way it works in the NFL. The positive is that I think that when you look at the total body of work, you're probably saying, hey, 3 years is a pretty good amount of time. And obviously it is probably the right thing to be done. The question is, is it organizationally the right thing to be done?
Well, let's start right there. Let's begin with Doug Pederson. From a Super Bowl championship in Philadelphia to a 9-8 playoff win in 2022, year one here in Jacksonville, to losing 18 of his final 23 games and being fired this morning. Coach, in your opinion, for Doug Pederson in particular, why did it not work here?
Well, first of all, I think Doug Pederson was the right choice at the right time. I really think that it was so dysfunctional with Urban that they needed somebody with a steady hand to try to get the perspective back on what direction the program was going. And I think he did that. I think the injury to Trevor at the, when it did last year, set this team on a trajectory to being a poor football team for whatever reason. I can't put a finger on exactly what happened, but when you look overall, there's been a number of draft picks that haven't hit. And again, you don't know who it ultimately was making a decision, if it was collaborative or it was a general manager's decision. But, there's been some missed draft picks. there have been, I think this free agency situation this year was the worst. I mean, I don't know one guy that they brought in that really did anything or helped this football team. So, I think there's a number of factors. I think sometimes when you get on a losing trajectory, it stays there. And I think the positive thing going forward is that, you say that the league is about close games, and it is. But when you lose as many close games as you did, at least athletically, it shows that this team is close. And, the change is inevitable.
He's our head coach here on Hacker After Dark, my friend Dave Campo. It's always Monday night coaching with Campo. All right, Doug Pederson was fired this morning by owner Shad Khan. Probably the bigger story, Coach, at least from the Jaguar fan base perspective, that's what gotten much more reaction, is at least for now, and I'm using the term for now, and I guess you and I will get into that, Trent Baalke is still the Jaguar general manager. Your reaction to that aspect of this?
Well, my feeling, from the post-game shows and some other shows, some of the After Dark shows, that I think that the only way you can be successful in this league is to have the general manager and the head coach on the same page. And especially if the guy that's making the final decision is the general manager and the head coach are not on the same page. So, obviously when you have a situation like this, you don't know exactly what transpired within that building, but it looks to me like they're not on the same page. And, when a general manager comes out, and I'm pretty sure it was Trent that told Shad that, this was the best roster we've had, in history. I think that's a little far-fetched, but, from the standpoint of him making that statement, it really showed and Doug came right out and said, I didn't make that statement. So, from that standpoint, there's been a little bit of dysfunction there. So I think there's a concern amongst the fans and the media that, why weren't both of them gone or neither one of them gone, one or the other? And so for me, I think it's shocking in a way. But remember this, there's no guarantee. He did not come out in his message and say, I'm really excited about Trent Baalke staying and we're going to get this together. He said, we're going to collaborate. If some head coach candidate comes in and says, look, I'm the best guy for the job, but I can't work with this general manager, there's no guarantee that Trent will be here in the future.
Dave Campo here with us. I think that's a great point. The statement that Shad Khan released this morning was kind of open-ended, right? You can interpret it a couple of different ways. Here's my thought on Trent Baalke, Coach, and I know I've told you this in the past, but just for the benefit of people that have not heard. Look, the guy's done some good things, right? When you talk about Tyson Campbell, Trayvon Walker, Anton Harrison, Walker Little, Brian Thomas Jr., obviously, Brenton Strange, Ventrell Miller, Jarian Jones. I mean, you can run down a litany of guys. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne. I don't give him much credit for Trevor. I mean, my dog could have picked Trevor Lawrence, but he did pick him with the number one pick in that draft. I mean, Trent Baalke has done some decent things in the draft, but the problem is, and this is the problem I ran into when I had to fall on this sword, because I had proclaimed myself the president of the Baalke fan club last year before that blew up in my face and I admitted defeat earlier this season. For every time you give Trent Baalke credit for doing something, you think about the awful things that he's done, whether it's free agency, whether it's roster building, roster management, depth on the roster. There are, to me, far more cons, no pun intended, than there are pros for Trent Baalke, which is why today's announcement, at least on the surface, was just very, very shocking to me.
Yeah, I think you bring up good points. I think you got 9 draft picks out of, I don't know, did he pick 40 or 38 or whatever it is that have become starters on the ball club? You're certainly not going to get 38 or 37 starters. It doesn't work that way. With the when you start going into the 100th pick and the 200th pick, sometimes those guys don't stick. But in reality, when you look at it, I think the draft this past year last 2 years was not too bad. So there is some positiveness. But again, I really think the identity of a football team is built on who's making the choices. And to me, that's where the head coach and the GM have to be on the same page. And I really don't think they were. I think when you look at Detroit, I think those two guys are on the same page. They exactly know what the football team is going to look like and what they want it to look like. And they brought in guys with that same mentality. Here, after a bad last part of the season last year, Doug said he knew how to fix it. And so, maybe he was involved in the guys that they brought in free agency and in the draft. If he did, there are some good things there as well.
Couple of more for Dave Campo. Here's the thing, and look, people are talking about how this will affect the head coaching search, and obviously that is the big question. Now, let's focus on Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson is the guy that every Jaguar fan seemingly wants, the offensive coordinator from Detroit. And the one thing you'll bring up with Ben Johnson, at least at the time you and I are talking, Coach, the two teams that he's been linked to, Chicago and Jacksonville. Well, Trent Baalke being here probably hurts your chances for Ben Johnson. Having said that, Chicago is keeping their general manager as well. At least right now, Ryan Poles is still there after the firing of Matt Eberflus. So if Ben Johnson wants a head coaching gig, the two teams that he's been most connected to have not fired their general managers yet. So that's going to be for Ben Johnson to decide whether he can work for either one of these two men in either Chicago or Jacksonville.
Well, somebody's going to want this job. I mean, there's no question there's enough positives here with, there is a future for Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be here. There's some things that he needs to get cleaned up, whether it's on or off the field. I'm not sure which is the most pressing. So somebody's going to want this job. And somewhere along the line, you have to make a decision. When I got the job in Dallas, there was no way that I could turn the job down, even though I knew that there was a little bit of a disconnect in who was making the final decision. If a guy like Ben Johnson is revered enough to be a guy that can name his place, then he may make that decision. He may say, hey, look, I either bring my guy or I don't come. And if that's the case, that's the way it is. So we don't know that. We don't know who's going to be involved, and we don't know what direction Khan's going to go. So to me, I think that could be a little bit of a deterrent. And, I think people felt that last year it was a little bit of a deterrent. Or, excuse me, when Doug was hired, not last year, when Doug was hired, because of the reputation of Trent being a little tough to work for. So I think time will tell, and I think there's a legitimate concern there with people.
Owners don't have to answer to their fan base. You know that better than anybody. You worked for Jerry Jones, for crying out loud. But there is no doubt, Coach, that in this city today, there is anger and there is hostility about this decision. I mean, I'll tell you a personal story. My wife and my mother, who I would not exactly call diehard, passionate football fans, both either talked to me directly or via text and said, essentially, I can't believe it. What are the Jaguars doing? And if that's my wife and my mom, who really don't necessarily care about football, you can imagine what the Jaguar fan, needless to say, the diehard fan's reaction to Trent Baalke staying is. Are you surprised that Khan, tone deaf is not the right word, but obviously he's not reading the room when it comes to his fan base?
Yeah, again, I look at it like this is not a completely done deal, possibly. And I think that it was a factor in the decision, obviously, to let Doug go. Because there is a clamoring from the fans and the media that there needed to be a change. I think that 5 out of the last wins out of the last 23 is you have to look at that. And I think that was part of the decision making. But I go back to this. The billionaires that I've been around, and I've been around a couple, they don't like to be told what to do. They feel like they have earned the right with their pocketbook that they can make whatever decision they want to make. So some of it could be that. But when you start looking in the stands and you see what was there in that last ball game against a rival team, that in itself is a little bit shocking that the decision wasn't made to start all over again.
Coach, as we say goodbye, when it comes to the coaching search now, Khan makes the decision this morning. I would imagine interviews will start up middle to late this week. But the NFL has changed an awful lot since back in your days, certainly with Dallas, in that you can't even do in-person interviews until like January 20th now, because they want teams that are in the playoffs and their coaches to have a viable shot. So it's not as if the Jaguars are going to be hiring a coach in the next week or two. I mean, this is going to be a drawn-out process, and I would imagine you're looking at late January, maybe even early February before we know who the next head man in charge here is.
Yeah, that's true. And, I think that something that, that even when I was there, you couldn't interview really until, once you are set for the Super Bowl, those coaches can interview the first week, before you go to the Super Bowl. So there have been some rules, but I think right now it's going to take a while. And, what it does is it gives us media types, I'm including myself in the media types right now, can talk about it and voice their opinion. And until that happens, you're and a lot of guys, even the assistant coaches from teams that are winning or in the playoffs, cannot make decisions on where they're going if they're under contract. So it's going to take a while. It's probably going to be the end of January at least.
And it is worth noting, whether it's the East-West Shrine game, the Senior Bowl, I mean, these things are coming up. If you did not have a GM and you did not have a head coach, you really wouldn't have any direction. Trent Baalke will at least be able to be at these all-star games with his staff and his scouts, scouting these players. And like we said, we'll see what happens when a head coach is in place, and we'll see what Trent Baalke's future ultimately is here. But for the time being, he is back, and Doug Pederson was fired earlier today. Dave Campo, our head coach here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, we actually do have NFL playoff action coming up. Unfortunately, we didn't get to preview a lot of that. We'll hopefully review it with you next week and look forward to what we hope will be a great divisional round of the postseason. Busy day for everybody. Thank you for taking time out as always, pal.
You got it, Hack. And if anything comes up tomorrow, give me a holler.
Will do. Thank you, buddy.
All right, Hack.
There you go, the head coach Dave Campo with us here on Hacker After Dark. Always enjoy a little Monday night coaching with Campo, and obviously Dave has a great perspective. I mean, and we talked about this on the fifth quarter last night, and I asked Coach before we went on the air if it was okay, and he said, of course. Dave was fired on Black Monday in Dallas back in, 2002, 2003 by Jerry Jones. So, I mean, you want to talk about an unbelievable perspective on today's events. Dave Campo obviously lived it, and he had a great perspective, and we appreciate him joining us as he always does. Another great perspective is my friend Tom McManus, the original 55 of the Jacksonville Jaguars, former Jaguar linebacker. He joins me next. We'll talk about the decision today to keep Trent Baalke, the decision to fire Doug Pederson, from a guy who wore that Jaguar uniform, and as you know, a guy that can have some passionate thoughts. Tom McManus joins me next on a very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark in the city of Jacksonville. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Every game is a story.
And the game is tied.
Every play is a moment waiting to happen.
We're going to overtime.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. I found myself this afternoon outside playing hide and seek, playing tag with Little Hack. We got him some new Nerf guns, and we're playing with those. And I thought, man, January last year, I could have never done that. When I was well over 300 pounds, I was tired, I was lethargic, and now here I am, right about the 205, 210 mark, well over 100 pounds of weight loss thanks to Awaken 180. It's completely changed my life. It's given me a new outlook on life with my 5-year-old son. It's the new year. If you guys need a new outlook on life, take it from somebody who's lost over 100 pounds on this program. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. You could be their next success story. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialist take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com. Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, contact Florida First Insurance Group on University Boulevard, an award-winning Florida Blue agency well known for providing superior service. Theo Mitchelson and his team at Florida First make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Contact Theo Mitchelson and the Florida First Insurance Group today and let your health be their priority. And a reminder for Florida Blue members, visit Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations in town offering primary care, walk-in services, and on-site pharmacy and mental health support. SANITAS Medical Center, Florida First Insurance Group, and Sanitas Medical Center, a winning team in Northeast Florida.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled Florida backwards.
It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Lauren Brooks
here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Obviously, the huge news today, Doug Pederson out as the Jaguar head football coach, but it appears Trent Baalke will remain as the general manager. There has been a ton of reaction. Let's talk to a man that wore that Jaguar uniform, the original 55 of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every Friday on Jaguars Today, and you hear him all over the 1010XL podcast airwaves. That's my friend Tom McManus. Tommy, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Hack. Happy New Year, buddy.
Hey, Tom, same to you. Appreciate you joining me on short notice. All right, Doug Pederson out. Trent Baalke remains. Let's kind of take them one at a time. Let's begin with Doug Pederson, Tom. Your reaction to his firing earlier today.
Well, I mean, look, I hate, when coaches get fired. Obviously, it affects a lot more than just them, but it is a production business. And at the end of the day, they just didn't produce enough to warrant maintaining that job. Now, I would have never thought that if you chose one, it would be Doug. I would have thought it would have been Trent. I really thought he would have either gotten rid of both of them or kept them both for a year, not keep one. And what it does, it's just the trickle down effect, Hack. Now, okay, you get a new coach. What happens if he don't work out? Or now you're tired of the GM, and now you got to get a new GM, and he don't like the coach. And then he's got to get a new coach. You know what I mean? It's a never-ending domino effect. So I don't know. I wasn't real happy about it because, of course, Trent maintaining his position. I'm not shocked by it, though, Hack, and I said it when it happened. You don't sign Walker Little to a contract extension in December if you're walking out the door. Why would the owner ever agree to allow you to do that deal when I'm going to fire you? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm not shocked. But once again, Shad Khan does what he wants to do, and you're not going to change it, And look, if it works out and they win, everybody will be happy again. If it doesn't work out, no, nobody's going to be happy, and you'll see it in the stands. It'll be reflective in the stands. So, I can't say I hope I know what he's doing because I don't think he does. And I don't know who Shad Khan really relies on, outside of Trent, maybe his son Tony, but he needs to find some new friends that know what the game's all about and knows how to build a winning culture and winning identity and a winning football team, none of which he has today.
Former Jaguar linebacker Tom McManus here with us. Tommy, Trent Baalke is not without positives, all right? When you list the guys like Anton Harrison, Walker Little, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, Tyson Campbell, you can go on for a while. he's drafted some decent players, but every time you want to give him a compliment or credit for something, you can think about 2 or 3 other things that he's kind of messed up. And it's just hard to understand why Shad Khan came to this decision today to retain Trent Baalke as the general manager.
Well, I mean, what did he say earlier in the year? This is the best team ever assembled. Everybody laughed at that, but you know that it came from Trent Baalke. And to me, that's where Trent laid the groundwork. Like, hey, if somebody's got to go, it ain't me. I built them a great roster. Look at all this talent. The problem is, like I say all the time, it's not just the talent. It's the kind of people that you bring into the organization. You take Eric Armstead. You handcuff the coach by telling Eric Armstead, yeah, I'll sign you, and you can play end. You can play end more than tackle, even though you've played tackle your whole life, and you're better at tackle, and you make the team better if you're at tackle more than not. But he didn't, and you can't win when you're not on the same page. You know, you look at Ronald Darby. He was supposed to be this shutdown cover, not shutdown, but man-to-man cover corner. He couldn't cover, and then they put him off ball, and he's even worse. And then they bench him. You know, I mean, this year's class has just been awful. Yeah, he's had some hits, but he's got to get the right kind of guys in there, Hack, that are team first. You know, I hear there's a few prima donnas in that locker room. I hear they don't do everything they're supposed to be doing. I hear they don't put in that extra time. And I hear they really don't give a crap whether they win or lose. So that's got to change. And that is the players I'm talking about, not the coaches.
Yeah, look, you know, you talk about the culture of this team, the identity of this team. I just get the feeling that when you retain Trent Baalke, to me, you had to have a clean sweep, and the fact that it's not a clean sweep is very, very disappointing. And I think that's kind of where the fan base is today. Well, quite frankly, a lot of the fan base is pissed. But I think disappointment is another good word here, because we honestly thought this time the Jaguars were going to do what everybody thought they should do. Look, Shad Khan doesn't have to answer to anybody, and he doesn't need to answer to the fan base. But, I mean, if you're reading the room here, Tommy, you've been around this organization for years as a player, as a media member, as a fan. I've been around it from the inception as well. These fans are fuming today, and that says a lot about Jaguar history. As much bad stuff has happened here, this is as mad as I can ever remember this fan base being.
And they have every right to be mad. And I feel bad for the fans, because I know, you know, from a fan's perspective, you want change, you want more. I don't like it either. Like I said earlier, either get rid of both of them or keep both of them for one more year. I'm still going to hold back and just kind of see where this one goes, who they bring in, who is going to be the head coach. I have no idea, and hope for the best. But we know that a lot's got to change down there. And it's not just the coaching staff. It's that whole identity. What's the standard are we trying to have here? You know what I mean? You hear about all these other organizations and the kind of standard they have. What's Shad Khan's standard? Does he even have one? You know, it doesn't seem that he does. But one thing I know is you can always change that. And you change that by getting the right people in place. They're going to help you make the right decision this time as to who you want leading this team. Now, I don't think it works with, you know, Trent Baalke and GM. I think they're going to be handcuffed as to who they can bring in, who really wants to work with them. But at the same time, Hack, hey, man, it's hard to turn down all that guaranteed money to be a head coach in the National Football League, even if it doesn't last as long as you'd like it to. So there will be candidates that'll say, hell yeah, I want a shot at that. They got enough talent down there that we can add more to and clean some things up and get better discipline and culture. I mean, think about this, Hack. I've been yapping about it all damn year. The defense makes the same mistakes over and over and over again all year long. I mean, how many times can the coaches drill at home if the players don't respond? And I don't know if they're drilling at home, because it doesn't seem like Doug drills anything home. You know what I mean? He's never that, doesn't feel like he's that kind of guy, like hammering it, you know, down and saying, like, look, this is how it's got to be. This is how it's got to be run. You can't make these mistakes. If you do, think, you know, we got to make changes. But you didn't see that. I'll tell you so, Darby, that's because he couldn't play off coverage. And they can't play press because they're not good enough. And I disagree on Tyson Campbell. He got his ass whooped on Sunday, and he should have never been extended because he didn't earn anything. He got injured for 2 years, and he's got promise. And I'm not saying I don't like him, but he ain't somebody that I would have extended. But that was the mantra of Trent Baalke. Because why, Hack? What also did the owner say this year? I want to see more guys that we draft, developed, and extended. Well, who delivered on that? With two of them anyway, Trent Baalke did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's a shame, because I know how bad this city wants this team to win. I know how bad I want them to win. Everything's better when they win, and it's just a shame because you feel like either. And I'm going to say this as much respect as I can, because I don't know Shad that well, hardly at all, really. But he either doesn't know football at all, and he doesn't have the right people in place, or he doesn't really care as much as he says he does. He's going to be making his billions. He's going to be making his money. By the way, these people that are saying they're not going to renew tickets or opting out, I get it. I don't blame you. The reality is, until they get the new stadium, I don't know how much that affects them. I don't know how much they care about that. And they also know, because we are a fickle city when it comes to this, when we win, people will come.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. So they're banking on, hey, we'll just try to figure out winning, and they're still going to come, even though we've lost a lot of people today.
Final moments with former Jaguar linebacker Tom McManus. Tommy, that leads me to the future. As you mentioned, the head coaching search. The statement that Shad Khan put out earlier today was interesting in that he said General Manager Trent Baalke and myself, along with others, will be basically conducting the search. But people are reading that as he didn't say anything about Trent Baalke as the man for the job. Trent Baalke is the right man to lead this organization. Trent Baalke is the guy that's going to be with us in the future. It was kind of an open-ended statement, which is interesting. The thought also is the new head coach is going to report to Shad and not to Baalke. And that leads the question again, well, then what the hell's Baalke doing here if you think the coach doesn't need to report to him, he just needs to report directly to you?
Report to Shad, who hardly knows the game at all. That makes a lot of sense to me. Let me tell you, geez. Yeah, let's go to an owner who's never around and who, maybe knows a little bit about the game over these years, but at the end of the day, doesn't know as much as he should know. I know he doesn't know what kind of integrity and what kind of culture he wants inside that organization, other than marketing, other than the flash, other than the pools and all this other stuff, except for what's on the field. So, look, I don't think that. To me, that's just guessing. And I'm not saying you are, but look, why would a guy? This is what I don't get with Shad Khan. He's so smart in these other businesses, right? Why would he, if this is in fact true, allow this guy Trent Baalke to re-sign these guys, pick my next draft, pick my next coach, only to get rid of them? That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Unless Baalke retires or something. That's kind of the speculation.
Unless Baalke quote unquote retires. Yes, you're right, Ak. And that could happen. But I don't know. Why would you let him keep building when it's not working and then just to get rid of him? You know what I mean? Get rid of him now and let's find a GM that can fix this thing. Find a GM that can bring in a coach that he can work with side by side and be on the same page with what type of player I want in this team, in this city, in this locker room, and rebuild it. Because otherwise, I don't know. I think we're kind of pissing in the wind and running in circles, and we're going to have the same kind of outcome that we've been having.
Yeah, it's a crazy day here in Jacksonville. Former Jaguar linebacker, the original 55, Tom McManus. Tommy, I know we hear you every Friday on Jaguars Today. Let them know where they can find your podcast as well.
Yeah, podcast, Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Thanks, Zach. It's always on the 1010XL YouTube channel, the Jaguars channel. You can always catch it on my Facebook page. And my man, Graham Marsh, he shares it all over social media and other places that you listen and watch your favorite podcast. Every Tuesday and Friday now at 9 a.m., I'll be live on my Facebook page with Catching Up with Tommy Mac.
Tommy, it's a busy day. Thank you for joining me on short notice, brother. I really appreciate it.
I'm about to hit the gym, Hack, so my day's okay. I pray for all the fans. Take it easy, take a deep breath, and let's see how they finish with this whole thing.
Sometimes, when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true.
Hey, is this heaven? No.
It's 1010XL.
It reminds us of all that once was good.
Hey folks, Mike Detsy here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Kenny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17. Call 762-1000 or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProJaxRoofingFL.com.
New Year's resolutions. But let's be honest, by February, that gym membership is just a $50 a month guilt trip.
So why not take that cash and finally fix your leaky faucet, unclog that drain, or tune up your AC?
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses.
It's a resolution you'll actually keep.
Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to Tom McManus for joining me tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Always enjoy catching up with Tommy. In less than 10 minutes, we'll get a national perspective. One of my favorites when it comes to talking NFL. Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated will join me. And I want to talk with Matt not only about Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke, obviously, but, you know, I'm 90 minutes almost into this Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark, and we'll obviously pick up this conversation in the days and weeks ahead. Amidst the Trent Baalke news, there is a head coaching opening here in Jacksonville, right? I mean, there will be a brand new head coach. There will be a brand new staff that is assembled. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, I believe it was Jeremy, tweeted out earlier, you know, guys that are going to get looks from Jacksonville are the names that we all know, right? Ben Johnson of Detroit, the offensive coordinator. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator of Tampa Bay. Those are the offensive guys. Defensively, you got Aaron Glenn, the DC in Detroit. Jesse Minner, potentially, the DC with the Chargers. I am of the opinion Jacksonville should absolutely go with an offensive guy. You know, the Ben Johnson thing is interesting, too. The common thought is that Trent Baalke still being here in Jacksonville will cost you Ben Johnson. And it very well may cost you Ben Johnson. And I'm going to ask Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated this very question, but just to lay it out there, keep in mind the two jobs that Johnson has been linked to are here in Jacksonville and Chicago. And the thing with Chicago is they also have a general manager there currently in Ryan Poles, who has survived since Matt Eberflus got fired. So if Ben Johnson wants to be a guy that brings in his own GM, well, he's going to have to think long and hard about that because, again, there's a GM here in Jacksonville, whether we like it or not, that's reality. But there is also a GM in Chicago. Now, the New England Patriots have also asked for permission to interview Ben Johnson. That's an intriguing thought with Drake May. But keep in mind, what New England did yesterday was wild. Gerard Mayo wins the game against Buffalo. I assume gives the post-game victorious speech in the locker room and then is fired like an hour later. And the thought is that Mike Vrabel, obviously the former New England Patriot, is going to be very high on their list. But we'll see. I mean, the current job openings, the Saints, the Jets, the Bears, the Patriots, and the Jaguars. 5 current NFL head coaching openings as it stands right now. We've talked to a former head coach tonight in Dave Campo. We've talked to a former Jaguar player in Tom McManus. Now let's talk to one of my favorites who covers the league nationally. My buddy Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated joins me next. We'll talk Doug Pederson. We'll talk Trent Baalke, but I want to shift the focus a little bit to this head coaching search. And we'll do that next as a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark rolls on right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Living life on the edge of your seat.
Are you kidding me?
Your front row seat for play-by-play.
Break it free, they're not going to catch you.
1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, City Rescue Mission is here to help. Learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy. And do it today.
Why is the Dead Sea so named? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Dead Sea is 9 times saltier than any other sea, which means no living creature can actually live there.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The big story here today, Doug Pederson fired as the Jaguar head football coach. Maybe the bigger story, at least for now, Trent Baalke is still the Jaguar general manager. There's been a lot of reaction. Let's go to Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated. He's one of my favorites to talk NFL with, and he joins us here on 1010XL. Matt, it's been a little while, man. Hope all is well with you.
Hey, things are good. How are you?
Matt, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, your reaction. Doug Pederson out, Trent Baalke remains here in Jacksonville.
Very surprised. Very surprised. Not that Pederson's out. I mean, that kind of seemed like it was a no-brainer. But so did Baalke being out. That also seemed like a no-brainer. And, you talk to people in the league, you talk to people around, not maybe team sources, but just around that area. And you're like, okay, what's going to happen? I think there's a general sense of like, well, they've got to get rid of Trent Baalke. I mean, there's no way you're not going to allow him to be there for another coach getting hired. And yet here we are. He remains for, I believe, this will be now his third head coach at Jacksonville. I know, it's Shad Khan. It remains to be seen. It's just, where he kind of is a lot more involved day to day, and Baalke takes somewhat of a back seat. But then if that's the case, why is he still here? Mm-hmm. So I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised. I thought that there would be a full house cleaning in Jacksonville, and there's not.
All right, let's start with Doug Pederson. Super Bowl winning coach, Matt, obviously. You're very familiar with him from the work you've done around the league for years. Yet it did not work out here in Jacksonville. In fact, he lost 18 of his final 23 games. Why did it not work for Doug here?
Look, I think it's just one of these deals, and it probably won't make Jags fans feel any better, but things went sideways, and it's like a car sliding on ice. Like, once it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to get that traction back. And I think, last year you look at it, and, hey, look, his first season they go to the divisional round, making a lot of progress, and then last year you felt like really through Thanksgiving, hey, they're right where they should be. They were the 1 seed in like week 12. And then a lot of injuries. Lawrence gets hurt. Kirk got hurt, on and on and on. Team disintegrates. And I think that loss in week 18 last year in Tennessee, I think was kind of the touchstone for like, okay, this is not going to be, not going to get this back on the tracks. Now, this year, there's a lot of things, right? The defense wasn't good. Lawrence was not good even when he played this year. I mean, he did not play well, and that's on Pederson. Pederson is a former NFL quarterback. That's just his whole bread and butter is being able to run a really good offense, an efficient offense, get the quarterback to play the way he needs to play. That never happened. Part of it's the offensive line, obviously, but if I think it would have been one thing if they were scoring 30 a game and losing like the way the Bengals were losing. You'd go, okay, they got to fix the defense. But Pederson's still doing his part of the deal. When you're not scoring points and you've invested as much as they have in that offense, that's kind of the end of the road.
Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated here with us. Doug Pederson out, Trent Baalke remains. And Matt, one of the points I've made here today is, look, I mean, there is some positive things that Trent Baalke has done. When you look at this roster, you can obviously talk about Brian Thomas Jr. That's an absolute grand slam. You look at Anton Harrison, Trayvon Walker, Tyson Campbell, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange. I mean, you can rattle them off, and they're all Trent Baalke draft picks. But my problem is, and I think a large percentage of the Jaguar fan base's problem is, for every positive you name that Baalke's done, you can probably name 2 or 3 negatives that offset it. And I just don't, for the life of me, understand why Shad Khan came to this decision today.
Well, and look, to your point, and it's a correct one, but to your point, all those guys you just mentioned, they're all top 100 picks. They never hit on guys 100 and back, ever. I mean, if you look at their 4 classes under Baalke, every pick they have, 4th round on, is inconsequential. They don't hit. And if you look at the best teams in the league, you hit on those mid to late round picks. Not all of them, of course. I mean, nobody would do that. But you've got to find some guys. You got to find some. I don't care that he drafted Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, everybody in the world would draft Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, you're not getting credit in my book for that. Brian Thomas Jr., absolutely phenomenal pick, phenomenal, but also like should hit on your first round picks. They do not hit often enough on mid to late round picks. And when you look at free agency, they gave a lot of money to Gabe Davis. I mean, I think a lot of people, including myself in the moment, were like, I don't know that I would have paid Gabe Davis that kind of money. They have gone out and they have spent money, and they've had some good contracts, but they've had a lot of contracts you to look at. And, all right, well, I don't know that you do that again if you had the opportunity to go back and fix it. I also think the other part of this too is, and look, this isn't just a Jacksonville thing. This is an NFL thing. I never understand when teams fire a coach but keep the general manager. Because to me, unless the GM is somebody like Howie Roseman, okay, fine, I get that. But you now have to hire a coach, and if the next coach comes in and the Jags are, 7-10 next year, okay, well, if the roster stinks, you're going to get rid of Baalke? Well, probably not, because now he's tied to this coach. I just think sometimes, the Giants kept Joe Shane and Brian Dable, and you could say that's a mistake, but to me, at least they kept them, paired. Once you split it, now it's almost like you're forcing yourself into an arranged marriage.
A couple of more from Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated with Ryan Green here on 1010XL, and I completely agree with you. Now, again, I'm trying to do detective work on the statement that Shad Khan released earlier today, and he said that he made the statement about Doug, right? And then in the last paragraph, he goes, all right, I'm going to work with General Manager Trent Baalke and others close to the organization to find a guy that's going to come in and lead this team, essentially. I'm paraphrasing the end there. People here in Jacksonville, Matt, and again, I think they're just grasping at straws to an extent, but it is worth noting there was nothing that was really said about Trent Baalke. I find Trent Baalke to be the right guy for the job. I think Trent Baalke is going to be the GM here for a long time. There was nothing like that. All it mentioned was, I'm going to work with Trent Baalke to find a guy to lead this team, which I guess gives some Jaguar fans hope that maybe if enough coaches come in here and say, I'm not working with that guy, that might change the owner's mindset.
Yeah, look, I think the fact that he's still there probably tells you all you need to know. I mean, if it takes that, then it's a calamity anyway, right? I mean, now here's the positive side for Jacksonville. If you look around the league at the openings, okay, we can go through, New Orleans, Vegas, the Jets, you name it, whoever you want to go to. You look around the league and New England, there's not, Jacksonville's probably a better job than all those jobs. I mean, you could maybe argue New England in the sense, okay, if you like Drake May, they've got a ton of cap space, real high pick. You could argue New England. Okay. New Orleans isn't a better job. The Raiders aren't a better job. I mean, the Jets, just so you live in New York, the Jets are a disaster. Nobody's lining up for that job. So the Bears job, again, it's a job that a lot of people, talk to people in the league, that is not an attractive job. I know people think, Caleb Williams, the infrastructure of that organization is such that a lot of people would not touch that job. I really think if you're Jacksonville, look, I think Ben Johnson, they got a real shot to get him. I think they have a very real shot to get him. Now, how much does Baalke be in there hurt it? That's Ben Johnson's answer. I don't know. But it's a job where, look, there's a lot of pluses. You've got a quarterback. The owner's willing to spend money. Got a high pick. It's not a great division. You live in Florida, you get no state tax. There's a lot. I could see Jacksonville on some on coaches, radar as the number one job. I would not be shocked if a lot of prospective coaches felt that way.
Final moments, Matt Veram of SI. And to your point, you wonder how much it limits the coaching candidate pool that Baalke is here. The one thing I would note, at least with Ben Johnson, the two teams that he's been linked to the most, Chicago and Jacksonville, well, Chicago still has their GM too, right? Ryan Poles is still there, and Eberflus was shown the door. So if you're Ben Johnson and Chicago and Jacksonville are the two teams fighting over you, they both have current GMs in place. So that might help Jacksonville a little bit.
I would say, too, that, look, if you're talking about those two jobs, I know Jacksonville, look, everybody listening knows, of course, intimately, that the Jags, it's been a struggle. But at the same point, if I'm Ben Johnson, that's not even a contest. I'm going to Jacksonville. And for no other reason, because when you look at the competition you're dealing with, yes, in the AFC, you have this looming specter of all the quarterbacks. But you look at the NFC North, that division is brutal. Like, you could be good and finish in last place in that division. You go to Jacksonville, Tennessee's got the number 1 overall pick. Indianapolis is another team you look at and just, I don't know why the Colts feel they need to keep Chris Ballard for it feels like the 80th straight year. And then there's Houston, who won the division and everybody thinks is a pretty mediocre team. So, like, if I'm Ben Johnson or any coach, I'm looking at that going, listen, if I think I can get Trevor Lawrence playing the way he needs to be playing, you know, I got talent. I got a Christian Kirk. I got Brian Thomas Jr. You know, yeah, we got to fix some things, obviously. But, you know, could you turn it around fairly quickly? Yeah, I think if you get the right coach, you probably could. So, I think Jacksonville's a much better job than Chicago.
Matt, as we say goodbye, why does Trent Baalke, and I'm asking you something just because I know you've been around the league for a while, Trent Baalke's got a negative connotation with the fan base here. A lot of fans are just tired of him, quite frankly. Yet the more people around the league you talk to, it seems to be mainly negative about him as well. Does that just stem back to leaving a bad taste in people's mouths from the San Francisco days?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably fair. You know, look, I don't, you know, certainly personally, I don't have any axe to grind with Trent or anything. I don't know Trent personally, you know, on any meaningful level. I just would say that, yeah, I think there is a lot of that. You know, that San Francisco thing ended poorly in a lot of ways. I mean, it was Trent, you know, Jim Harbaugh. You know, Jim Harbaugh. The Niners were basically like the first excuse they had. Harbaugh was out the door. And if you go back and look at the history of that, I think that last year it was 7-9. It was the first losing year they had with him. He was gone. That whole thing blew up kind of like a powder keg. And I think Harbaugh kind of rehabilitated his image to some degree by going to college and winning a national championship and kind of you know, laying low NFL wise for a few years. And I think it also helps too, he's a former player, all that stuff. Baalke, I think there was always a feeling of like he was a big part of the reason that thing blew up in San Fran, and it never really people never really got past it.
You can read Matt Veram's terrific work at SI. I hate having you on and not even talking playoffs with you. Quickly, of the 6 playoff games coming up this weekend, what's the most intriguing to you?
I think the biggest coin flip is Texans-Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
That of the 6 games, I look at that game. I don't know who the hell's going to win that game. I mean, Washington, Tampa, to some degree, I think Tampa's better. You know what? I'll throw you a curveball. I think that Buffalo-Denver game is going to be a lot more interesting than people think it's going to be.
Really?
Yeah. I think Buffalo's going to win. They're the better team. But Denver has a very good defense. They can cover man on man. They can get a ton of pressure with 4 guys. They lead the league in sacks. It's 68 sacks this year. I just think it's one of those things. If the Broncos defensively can hold up to some extent, you know, give up 23 points, Buffalo's defense has been atrocious. Like, is there a world in that, you know, in that game where Denver is just kind of living on third down and they're 10-15 on third down? I mean, the Bills are the 4th worst third down defense in football. I could see that being a game where we're all sitting here Sunday afternoon going, oh, my God, it's tied. It's 2-minute warning. Like, I would not be shocked if Denver's in that game very late.
Should be a fun weekend. 6 playoff games coming up, 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, and then, of course, Monday Night Football. Matt Veram of SI. Matt, thank you for joining me on short notice. Busy times here in Jacksonville. We always appreciate you, man.
No problem, Ryan. Anytime.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to my buddy Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. What was, well, quite frankly, just an unbelievable day here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Pederson fired as Jaguar head coach after compiling a 22-29 record in 3 years. But Trent Baalke remains as the Jaguar general manager. And I got to tell you, I've been around this team for 30-plus years now as a fan and a member of the media. And today is a top 5-er, man, as far as negativity I've sensed towards this organization from the fan base. And it's not just on social media, which sometimes can be a vacuum of negativity. I mean, family members, friends that I have that I would not even consider to be diehard football fans texting me like, what are they doing? How does this make sense? So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Look, at the end of the day, if they hire a good head coach And in October or November, if they are 5-3 and 6-4 and right in the thick of it in the playoff race, well, then a day like this might be forgotten. But for the here and now, in the talking season, as the offseason begins and this head coaching search begins, it doesn't look good. Optically, it does not look good. And I thought that press conference today, I got to be honest, man, that was not good. Shad Khan, the owner, Trent Baalke, the general manager, look, I commend them for talking to the media, but some of the answers, the reasoning, the logic, why some of the moves that were made, just go watch it for yourself, and you tell me what you think. So there's a lot to react to. We'll react to it all week. We'll have a lot of guests all week, certainly here on Hacker After Dark. Obviously, we have the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. We got the college football Final Four beginning on Thursday night. It's a good time of year in the world of sports, but clearly the Jaguar head coaching search that I guess officially began earlier today will take center stage here for the next couple of weeks. Well, that'll just about do it. As you can imagine, it was a crazy busy Monday night edition here of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Matt Veram of Sports Illustrated. Always appreciate Matt stopping by. Thank you to Tom McManus, the original 55 of the Jacksonville Jaguars, former Jaguar linebacker. Always enjoy catching up with Tommy. He certainly had some passionate thoughts on the direction of his former team. And it was Monday night. That always means a little Monday night coaching with Campo, as former Dallas Cowboy head coach Dave Campo joined me to also react to the Doug Pederson firing and the Trent Baalke reinstatement, if you will, coming back as the Jaguar general manager. We will be back tomorrow night again at 8 o'clock, and we will do it all over again with much more Jaguar coverage here on Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
This is the place for Jaguars football.
Your AFC South champs, baby.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.